Okay, well, that leaves a problem with where are we going to get our nutrients? Because everybody knows you need, in particular, fruits and vegetables for all the nutrients they have, definitely for the vitamin C, and we need the fiber also. What is your response to that when people say, well, we need some plant nutrients in our diet?
Yeah, more very, very effective marketing of ideas that are fundamentally at their root false. False, actually. Let me tell you what the exact dietary requirement for fiber, indigestible fiber, there's the clue, indigestible, is in the human nutrition. Not 1 gram ever. You do not require fiber to thrive, survive, do well, move your bowels on a daily basis, be happy, robust, fit, healthy, any of it. The exact requirement for fiber is none ever at all. So that's that one. There is no science that says otherwise. And in fact, there are plenty of anecdotes that clearly support what I'm saying in terms of the need for fiber. I myself have consumed almost no fiber for about 8.5 years now. Richard Rodriguez, 40 years, 4 decades without any fiber. I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to be constipated for 40 years.
Be pretty backed up.
You would, wouldn't you? What about 65 years from Maggie, the rancher? 65 years, no fiber. Clearly, the three of us are examples of superhumans who are not members of the human race, clearly, because everybody knows you need fiber, otherwise you get constipated. Well, actually, there is only one study that even remotely pseudo-clinically looks at this issue. And it was done on a bunch of, I think it was 64 participants who presented with what is referred to as idiopathic constipation. Idiopathic is a medical term, and it means we don't know what the cause is. Now, doctors cannot admit we don't know anything. Doctors think they know everything and say, I know everything. So we can't say we don't know what the cause is. We have to use a big word that people don't understand. And that's what it is. It's idiopathic constipation in this case. And these 64 people were randomized to one of, I think it was 4 different interventions, with everything else controlled as best as they could in such a study. And the interventions were: keep your diet the same with the same amount of fiber that you're currently eating. Don't change anything. You're a control group. Another group of people were asked to increase the amount of fiber still further by another 25%. A third group were asked to reduce their fiber by 50%. And a fourth group were asked to remove all fiber from their diet whatsoever. And then they were followed for X number of weeks to see what happened. There was a dose response relationship between the outcomes for constipation, straining, effort, anal bleeding, all sorts of stuff like that. Basically, it goes like this. The people that increased their fiber got worse. The people that didn't change anything continued the same degree of constipation. The people that reduced their fiber by half had a roughly 50% reduction in their symptoms. And the people that removed all the fiber from their diet, every single one of them had a complete remission of all symptoms and returned to normal bowel function. One perfectly formed, easily expelled bowel movement per day, every day without fail. So no, you don't need fiber to keep you regular. Fiber will jam you up. Fiber will gum you up. Fiber will physically damage the lining of your colon and cause you inflammation, leaky gut, chronic systemic inflammation, and all sorts of secondary health complaints. The last thing you want to put into your colon is something you cannot digest. Oh yes, but it bulks out my stool. Fantastic. Why in a purple fit do you want bulky stools? Why would you want that? Anyway, so no, you don't need any fiber. Vitamin C is an interesting one. Yes, we do require vitamin C in order to retain health and have longevity and all that. If there is a shortage of vitamin C in your system, you will experience a condition called scurvy. Vitamin C is vital in the formation of the most common protein in your body. It's called collagen. It's the one that they do the nitrogen testing on in the skeletal bones, just to bring that back to, oh yes, collagen. Most protein in your body is collagen. It's by far the most of your protein. If you don't have enough vitamin C, you can't form collagen. So basically your body starts to dissolve. You won't heal injuries. You'll have bleeding gums. Your joints will start to pack up, I should say. You might start bleeding from all sorts of orifices. Scurvy can be fatal. Scurvy is not a good thing to get. You need some vitamin C, absolutely. How much vitamin C do you need? Well, that's where the RDIs have it wrong, because they'll say it's X number of milligrams per day of vitamin C is what you need. Plus they add on a safety margin, because they say that vitamin C is harmless, and in overplus, you'll urinate out any excess because it's water-based, they'll say. So let's put on a safety margin as well on top of that. And you'll end up with this massive dose of vitamin C that you should be taking every day, according to the powers that be. Well, here's the thing. There is a transporter that's involved in getting vitamin C out of your bloodstream into the cells where it's needed to do its work. Like anything, most things don't just cross the barrier of the membrane of cells. They need to be transported by a specific transporter for that purpose. Well, vitamin C is no different. It has one of those too. The transporter that transports vitamin C out of the blood and into cells is one called GLUT4. Heard of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. GLUT4 is the one that transports glucose out of your bloodstream into the cells. It's the same one. So what we've got is another fat man in the door situation, haven't we? If you've got a huge amount of glucose in your bloodstream trying to bully its way through that door into cells, poor old vitamin C gets shoved out of the way because there's much less of that. So what we need to do is bolster our vitamin C hugely in order to get any into our cells. That's why the RDIs are so high, because people are assumed to be eating a bunch of stuff that needs to be transported into cells on GLUT4. In other words, carbohydrates. Remove all the carbohydrate from your diet, and now the GLUT4 transporter is free. There aren't any fat glucose men trying to push through that door. So vitamin C can just walk through. So what you actually need as a carnivore in terms of vitamin C to prevent scurvy is almost none. Like it's nanograms per deciliter in your blood on a daily basis. Luckily, and strangely enough, given that that's how we actually have evolved over the last at least 4.5 million years, there's enough vitamin C found in the muscle meat of large ruminant animals. It's incredible. It's almost as if that's what we've been eating, and that was enough. Absolutely incredible. So people say, oh yes, fine, scurvy, but what about antioxidant effect of vitamin C? That's very important. Yes, the antioxidant effect can be important, the water-based antioxidant that you'll find vitamin C is a member of the family of things that will do that. There's another one that will do the same thing, and actually much better than vitamin C does. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's uric acid.
Mm.
Urate. Where do you get that from? Well, you get that from eating meat. Okay, so the base is covered. So we don't need a huge amount of vitamin C. And in fact, it is true that most of the excess vitamin C in your system is urinated out if you don't need it. That is true, but not all of it. Some of the excess vitamin C is metabolized and it breaks down in the metabolic system to something else. Do you know what that is?
I should know this.
It's oxalate.
There you go.
You don't want oxalate building up in your system.
No, you don't.
So vitamin C covered, fiber covered. The exact dietary requirement for carbohydrate in the human diet is the same as for fiber, not 1 single gram ever. Your body has a system called gluconeogenesis, which is capable of generating all the glucose you require for all purposes metabolically, and it makes it out of non-glucose precursors, like the glycerol backbones of triacylglyceride molecules, fat, basically, like certain amino acids, if they are present in excess, and monocarboxylates such as lactate, for example. They can all be transmuted into glucose, And your body does that, ergo, the dietary requirement for glucose is none at all, ever, not 1 single gram. So, okay, phytochemicals. There are phytochemicals in plants that we absolutely need according to what we've been told. Well, 8.5 years, not short on anything, except patience, perhaps, me. Richard Rodriguez, 4 decades, no plants, no deficiencies, no gray hair, no sign of weakness, no sign that he's over 35 when he's in his mid-50s. Maggie, 65 years, carnivore, no plants, no fiber, no vitamin C, no phytochemicals, tall, lithe, strong, still works a full day as a rancher, hard work, hard yakker, looks to be not more than 50, sounds like she's not more than 50, is as bright as a button, and will probably outlive all of us because she hasn't abused her body at all since she was 15. I only came to this in my mid-30s, really. Or actually, more like mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
By the time I was fully carnivore. So I've done a lot of damage that needs to be reversed that Maggie did not do, for example, and Richard did not do, Rick did not do. So, I mean, I think it's covered. There are those out there who will tell you that you need to eat a balanced diet, you need to eat plant material, you need phytochemicals, you need fiber, you need vitamin C, though, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff is bought and paid for in terms of those people being indoctrinated to, because they really believe it, these people. They're not, most people that say these things are not evil people that want to do you harm. They are people that have been indoctrinated, brainwashed by an evil machine that is underpinned by a bottom right-hand corner, a profit and loss statement at the end of the year. And it is high past time that we as individuals started to think about the misinformation that we're being fed and subjecting what we're being told to even a moment of cursory refutation to see whether or not it's correct. Okay, if you need a pile of vitamin C to do well, then there should be nobody that you can find anywhere around the world who does not eat a bunch of excess vitamin C, takes in basically no vitamin C to speak of. These people should not exist. There are millions of people around the world who currently subscribe to the carnivore lifestyle. Subscribers of myself, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Sean Baker, did I mention Dr. Chafee in Australia? There are all sorts of us now who are out there with hundreds of thousands. I've only got tens of thousands. Some of them have got hundreds of thousands. Some of them have got millions of followers who are subscribing to this diet. There are not millions of people dropping dead from scurvy every week.
That's right.
Something is wrong with what you're being told.